Hello everybody, I'm Justin and welcome back to Shokei Shoujo no Virgin Road, episode 4. In the last episode, a lot has happened, perhaps not quantity-wise, but quality-wise, or weight-wise, should I say. First and foremost, we had the first real involvement of the princess, Ashuna is her name, I believe, who wants something from the church. I'm not entirely sure what exactly she wants. Does she just want to talk with people from the other world? Does she want her father to be released since he's being tried for heresy because he summoned those people? Uh, does she want to join the church? Does she hold a grudge against the church? It's unclear right now, at least for me. And she fought with Momo, and it was a great fight. I am still very much in love of the magic system of this world. How Momo was just able to turn a survival saw into a chain sword, into a boomerang, into all sorts of weird shit. And in the end, Momo and Princess fell from the train. They were fighting in the forest, but something disturbed them. And they both agreed that it was very creepy, and I have a feeling that Momo and the princess will be traveling together for a while as essentially strange bedfellows. And it's gonna be nice, because I really like both of those characters, and I enjoy their dynamic, so I want to see that happen. And of course, the major part of the episode was the attack on the train, the assassins who came there for the princess for some reason. Again, another thing that isn't entirely explained quite yet, but I believe it will be explained sooner or later. Or maybe it's just, regular assassins that are after her because she's one of the nobles, and there are factions who don't like nobles, and that they don't need any more justification to do that. They had some weird magic with them, the red crystals that are just weird. I don't know what else to say about it since they just suck up the people who swallowed them and turn into a monster, a red knight. Someone pasted in the comments the full description of how it happened in the light novel, and it was much more gruesome, much more gruesome. And what the fuck are those red crystals? Is it again something like a pure concept? Do they possess a pure concept of red? And if so, what is a pure concept of red, even? Blood, flesh, hatred, love? All of those things are red, and can be argued that they are a pure concept of it. But the most important thing was that Akari, probably, it was heavily hinted at but at the end of the episode, and there was that time jump that Ashuna and Momo noticed. It's hinted at that Akari rewinded time at some point. That the train in some timeline derailed, and Akari rewinded that. Did she do it only once? Was she doing it until she succeeded? We don't know that. Because every time, the whole world, or maybe just a bubble around them, or maybe just the people, or maybe just the object they were on the train, or maybe just the country, or maybe the entire universe, we don't know that, went back in time, so we can't be sure about anything. That's so crazy about time shenanigans. You can never be sure about anything, essentially. What happened, when it happened, how many times it happened, right? And that's the biggest thing that happened in the last episode. We knew that Akari can rewind time on herself, sure, but this time she was able to rewind the time of the train and the train's vicinity, at the very least, because Momo and Ashuna were also affected. Or was it even more? What if something happens to her next time and she rewinds the entire country? right? She does it unconsciously. Also, either after she's dead, it just activates, or she just panics and rewinds time. It's not quite clear yet, but what is clear, at least to me, is that she does so purely unconsciously. It wasn't her conscious choice to rewind the time, which begs another question. What if she learns about the fact that she can rewind time and she learns to control this power? Hmm. Yeah, I guess all that's left is to watch this episode, and see what happens. They arrived somewhere. I'm guessing it's not quite their final destination yet. So I'm assuming they will travel further by a stagecoach or something like that, and they will have many a shenanigans on their way. Maybe because them getting to the capital of the Church of Faust and putting Akari in the execution chamber would be very fast for like 4 episodes. So I'm assuming the journey itself is gonna take just a little bit more time. But we can't know that until we watch it. So let's do. Shall we? I have my sound. I can get you your subs. And I need to fix up my camera a little bit. Good enough. Maybe a little bit too high. Uh, yeah, good enough. Okay, let's not take any more time than absolutely necessary, and let's just start watching episode 4 of Shokei Shoujo no Virgin Road, version by Saps, please. And let's do it in 3, 2, 1, go. Yep, last time on Dragon Ball Z. And it's oatmeal latte. Right, Akari's ether. The massive amount of mana she has. And apparently it had absolutely no effect on her. We also heard that not Akari, that Menou gave something up, right? And that again makes me think, I have it noted down as a theory, that Menou might have been a summon from another world at one point. But she gave up her pure concept somehow. Technically, yes. Did she turn back the whole world, or just a bubble around them? Cue the princess? No. I was hoping for just a little bit more travel, but apparently they just jumped on another train and are just traveling casually. Right, her entire town was turned white. Uh, Someone told me it was the girl who was killed there possessed a pure concept of white, and she just turned everything white. Why did it kill people? Why did it collapse buildings? I'm not sure. Why was Menou unaffected? I'm not sure. But it's another thing that leads me to believe that Menou was another summon from that world. Because if there is someone who can withstand the power of a pure concept, it would be another person who possesses a pure concept, right? Am I making sense right now? I think I am. And at some point and somehow, Meadow got rid of her pure concept, or perhaps it was torn from her, or she forgot about it, or it was sealed, or something happened, and now she works for the church. Which makes me wonder, could they possibly get rid of Akari's pure concept as well in the same way? And Akari could just live in this world peacefully. There is a lot of unknown. And apparently they already arrived to Garm. How can you survive a pure concept? I love this little facial expression she had there. Yep, your overly rendered eyes and overly rendered lips tell about purity. Blanched. What do you mean? Her memories and emotions and everything was erased in this event? Somehow? And she killed a lot of Japanese school kids. But it was turned into salt. Hmm. We've seen this sword in the OP. Is it gonna become relevant? And thus some emotion was born? I want to be an executor. I want to be you. Okay, that's one way to phrase it. Okay, at least she's aware. Okay, so very much a harsh but compassionate master. Okay, I like Flair. I like Flair. I really do. I didn't think I would like her, but I do. Why Japan in particular, though? Uh, okay. Dragon Evil Vessel Star. I like her. Okay, she doesn't seek any sort of vindication. She doesn't seek any sort of explanation for what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. She knows she's a villain. She knows she murders people. She knows what she's doing is evil, but it has to be done. And she's compassionate. Ah, so she's great at magic, but she doesn't have a lot of mana, which makes her and Akari an amazing combo. Because Akari can't use magic, but she has a fuck ton of mana. Hmm. Hi. I don't know which one of them is creepier. I guess they're two peas in a pod. Uh, hmm. I like it. One day when you find happiness, That means you would have surpassed me. Huh. So Flair isn't villain through and through, right? She's not a rotten person, so to speak. She is a villain because she has to. But also, deep down, she wants Menou to succeed. She wants Menou to find happiness, and perhaps deep down, she wants to find happiness as well. But she knows that she cannot. Oh, I like it. We're gonna talk about Flair a little bit more near the end. Uh, okay, just a quick note. Just a quick note so I don't forget. Why former? That's why it's a former palace. With words of magic or scriptures or whatever you want to call it embedded into the walls. Yep. Okay, so 2 days in the city. What's gonna happen during this time? You never really had a choice, man, or did you? Hmm. I'm guessing Akari will be of help during that. She wanted to see the sights with you, and you're gonna be busy with work. At least she's open about it. And you're not welcome to join me. Not unless you do something about it, Menou. Yeah, just have Momo investigate and you go on a date with Akari. Original sin? Hmm. Having a date with Akari. Yeah, that's exactly why I'm doing it. Uh, I mean, yeah, I'm assuming it's not something you can just buy at a corner store. Yep, yep, you do. You kinda do. You, me, bed now. Not quite. Ooh, the glimmer in her eyes. That's a nice detail. Good thing Momo isn't here. Good thing Momo isn't here. That's it. Okay. Damn. That was quick. Yeah, we're 22 minutes in. It really feels like no time at all. Hmm. Is it me? Or is the ending different this time? Or I might not remember the ending from the previous episode. Yeah, I think I simply forgot what the ending was in the previous episode. And it's the same actually. egg firm. I like my eggs runny. 5 episodes and we're done. Damn, what a short anime, huh? Ashuna's voice actress is listed as Mao. Excuse me. Hmm. Uh, yeah, those are just credits. I'm gonna skip them. I hope you don't mind. And we're gonna get into this view. And I wanna check it out real quick. Who is Mao? Mm, uh, Virgin Road. And how about... Yeah, I show you this window, so you're here with me. Shokei Shoujo of Virgin Road. A little bit of a zoom. And let's check her out real quick. Ashuna. Ichimichi Mao. Okay, so it was just... MAO was just stylized Mao. Gotcha. Who did she voice? Shion. Mm, not many characters I recognize at a glance. Yep, not many characters I would recognize at all. Many roles, sure, but yeah, okay, so it was just... MAO was just stylized Mao. That's essentially all I wanted to know. But now, let's go over this episode again. Merged to create an automa? Not an automaton, not an automata. Automa. Okay, sure. Through the power of the primary red gem. What the fuck is a primary gem? Massive amount of ether in Akari. To conjure a major spell, yep. And she mentioned that, or rather, Fleur mentioned that Menou doesn't have much ether reserves, but her magecraft is outstanding, and she doesn't suffer any negative consequences from having ether pushed into her, apparently, which is both having ether removed from your body and pushed into your body is supposed to be painful, but it's not painful for Menou, and it's not painful for Akari, which makes me think they would make essentially a dream team, right? Menou gets to use Akari's ether reserves. Akari gets to get off on that. I mean, you can see her face right now. And Menou can use those massive amounts of ether to cast powerful spells. My heart is still anxious over a bizarre sensation I felt during the trip. You're very emotional for someone rid of all emotions, Menou. I gotta say. The moment where she used, where Boobalicious, where Akari used her pure concept to turn back time. Again, did she turn the time back for the entire world? For just the town? For just the train? For just the span of the train? For just the country? For just the world? It's unclear. Be careful about her. Yeah, that's not what I'm telling you to be careful about her. Be careful so she doesn't seduce you. I'm your legal wife, Menou. I'm your legal wife. Pure concept that is improperly attached is perpetually unstable. That's an interesting bit because it implies that a pure concept that is properly attached would be stable. Is it just a translation error? Maybe not error, but not a pure or best translation. Is it just an inconsequential offhand comment, or is it something actually that will be relevant? I'm gonna note it down. Improperly attached concept is unstable. Properly attached concept is unstable. What about properly attached one? What about properly attached one? Question mark. I don't know if it's gonna become relevant or not, but it's worth taking a note of, in my eyes. Tragic human error never happens. Yeah. To never let there be another me in a sea of white. The significance of the land of salt is seemingly very important. I think this is the city of white that Menou is laying over the bricks of, because the land of salt was just turned into salt and crumbled apart. There aren't any buildings, there aren't any ruins. The city of white, meanwhile, still has some brickwork, still has some buildings, they're just simply all white. So it's certainly significant. And the land of salt is also significant, because this seems to be where Menou faces off against Flare. It seems that it's Flare. I still believe the hairstyle is just a little bit different. Flare has fairly short spiky hair, but they reach like her neck. She has like a very short spiky hair. So I'm still not entirely convinced it's Flare, but maybe it is. Maybe it's just wind blowing, or it's an earlier design, or something like that. I'm not sure. And yeah, Menou forgot everything except her name. Her name being Menou. I'm a priestess, pure, just, and strong. Her words dripping with sarcasm. Etheric Connect doesn't bother you, you're a prime Magecraft material. Yep, as Magecraft material, you're top quality. And they're traveling together. Menou isn't bothered by anything. Can you believe it? The entire land turning into salt, slowly dissolving into the sea. And the sword is purification embodied that turns all it pierces to salt. Purification embodied. I wonder what the significance of this sword is in particular. Right? Because as far as we're aware, it's people summoned from another world who possess pure concepts. This seems like a weapon that possesses a pure concept. Was there a lost one who had the pure concept of creating weapons of pure concepts or something like that? And they created a sword of pure purification? Or is it the case where not every person from Japan here is actually summoned with a pure concept? Some of them are summoned with pure concept weapons, perhaps. Right? Like, sometimes it's a plot of isekai stories where the main character themselves doesn't really have any special powers, but they have a super powerful weapon or a super powerful item or something like that. Could it be the case here? I'm not sure. This sword really stands out to me as something very odd. Something very odd. Purification embodied that turns all it pierces to salt. The whole world could have met the fate of this continent. It's convenient that the understanding of the sword ended at a continent, Because you could argue that all it pierces would be maybe it pierced a square in a city and it would just turn this square into salt. Maybe the brick in the pavement would turn into salt. Maybe the entire country, maybe the entire continent. And what if the understanding of the sword about all it pierces would be it pierced Earth's crust, so now all of the Earth, all of the planet turns to salt. Right? It's convenient that the understanding of the sword was that of a continent. I sensed in that moment that this person had made a long journey to bring me here just to tell me that. Could it be that Flair considers the Salt Continent her personal failure? Was she perhaps tasked with killing the lost one who possessed this sword but she failed? Maybe? I don't know. I want to be you. Not I want to be like you, I want to be you. Very important distinction. She doesn't want. Menou doesn't want to just be an executioner. She doesn't want to be just an exceptional executioner. No, she wants to be everything that Flair is. She wants to be pure, just, strong. She wants to be a villain. She wants to be an executioner. She wants to be everything that that Flair herself represents. If you say you're a villain, then I'll become one too. And there's a lot of conviction, conviction in her eyes. I think that's the proper word to use. I don't know. She took me to a convent about magecraft. Bubbles. She used that coin, didn't she? In the previous episode, in the second episode, she used that coin to distract the kid. Right. That's a nice bit of not foreshadowing, but like backshadowing, I guess, maybe. Our ancient civilization was dominated. The continent prosperity was made possible by making rampant use of the otherworlders' pure concepts. Yeah, flying ships, huge buildings. Now, granted, you don't necessarily need a pure concept to do that. You just need an understanding of something, right? Understanding of architecture, understanding of flight, understanding of engineering. Yeah, the pure concept isn't entirely necessary. Like, if I were to go to a, fantasy world, I wouldn't necessarily need superpowers to be able to teach people there about, I don't know. What do I know that they could find useful? Uh, how to make black powder. I guess I know how to make black powder. I know how to make thermite, extremely easy to make. Yeah, I could teach them how to make thermite, and that might have been a breakthrough in something. I wouldn't need superpowers to do that, and same goes for tall buildings, same goes for airships, same goes for all that stuff. You can see the extent of our dependency by how their language became the universal language of our world. And that civilization perished due to 4 human errors. Okay, let's look into them. There seems to be like a 5th human error down the middle. Dragon, the Sword of Salt. The Sword of Salt, understandable. What does dragon have to do with it, though? Evil, the Pandemonium. Is it the White Town? Not sure. Vessel, the Material Room. The ability to create anything that collapsed the world's economy? Maybe. Star, the Star Husk. I have no clue. That civilization perished due to 4 human errors, and so the only way to deal with other worlders who come to this world is to kill them. Yep. Hmm. I'm a sucker for the concept of like lost civilizations, stuff like that. I've been planning and meaning to make a game, uh, like an adventure RPG kind of thing, where the world would be just layers and layers and layers and layers of ancient civilizations, ruins built on top of ruins, built on top of ruins, built on top of ruins, essentially. I find it extremely appealing. But the thing is, it doesn't seem like the civilization was brought to ruin. Not entirely. The tall buildings are still standing. The technology is still there. And the four major human errors seem to have been fairly limited in their scope. Okay, maybe let's not call a continent-wide catastrophe being limited in its scope, but it doesn't necessarily seem civilization ending. Now, I don't know much about the other human errors quite yet. I hope they tell us about them fairly soon because I'm incredibly curious. Hmm. Another thing that makes me wonder is how long did that civilization of the lost ones, of the otherworlders, survived? Right? Because those four major human errors happened and that ended that civilization, but for how long has it been thriving? Right? If it's been like 50 years of thriving, and during those 50 years the four major errors happened within a single person's lifetime, then okay, sure, that's bad. But if that civilization lasted for millennia, and throughout those millennia only four errors like that happened, perhaps it's not that bad of an idea to continue using the power of the otherworlders. Perhaps finding out means to control them better, right? Putting effort into controlling them, not putting effort into eliminating them, or perhaps putting equal effort into both, so that if you happen to not be able to control them, you can still eliminate them. Because let's take the continent of Salt for an example. Akari could possibly rewind the time of that entire continent and bring it back to how it was. She could rewind the time at Menou's village. Akari could potentially fix all of those human errors by rewinding the time. Wouldn't it be useful to at least try to do that? Bring Akari to the continent and let her rewind the time of that continent of Salt. I wonder if they're gonna try to go in that direction. Makes me wonder. Makes me wonder if Menou is gonna try to appeal to Orwell that, hey, let's try to use Akari first. I'm gonna note it down. And we're starting second page of notes on Virgin Road. Akari could rewind human errors. There we go. Akari could rewind human errors. Interesting, interesting, interesting. And a lot of potential. A whole lot of potential. And at the very beginning, speaking of, yeah, let's talk about Flare a little bit. At the very beginning, I wasn't entirely convinced about her. Wait, where did I? Oh, I flipped two pages, not one page. So now my fucking hell. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. At the very beginning, I wasn't entirely sure about Flare. I wasn't sure if I like her as a character. Is she gonna be a good character? Is she gonna be a bad character? My first impression of her was a very, uh, the archetype of a ruthless master that beats up their pupils, that tortures their pupils, that is generally very hateable. Their pupils come out very strong out of that training and the most powerful people they were, but that doesn't change the fact their master was abusive to some point. And Fleur was really giving me those vibes. And she also was giving me the vibes of potentially uh, being very hmm, very what's the word I want to use? Mm, under the illusion, under the firm belief that she really is pure, just, and strong, that what she's doing is good, that she's not a villain. That kind of thinking, kind of like the police girl from Akamega Kill, right? Who wanted to do justice, and even after she lost her arms and whatnot, she was trying to kill our main protagonist because justice, because justice, because justice. Fleur was really giving me those vibes, and I'm glad that it's not the case. Fleur is aware that she's a villain, and they are all villains. She's aware that there's no vindication. What they're doing is not righteous. She knows that speaking of friendship, whispering words of love, is dirty and underhanded, and that they use it to kill them, and they need to keep on killing. And that it's something they have to do. And it's something she does. And she's probably not entirely happy about that fact. And see her hair, I gotta mention it. It's not just head hair, there's hair on her neck. It's not entirely short hair. That's why it seems to me like the person from the opening is not Flare. Unless she changes her hairstyle at one point. I'm not sure. There's a new girl, and we learn that Menou is compassionate. I'll kill in their stead. Don't let them kill. Let them run free, let them be kids. I'm already empty husk and I already swore to be like you. No, I already swore to be you. So give the tasks of killing to me and me alone. You're not the best at what you're doing. You're average. You're maybe a step up from average. Don't make me like you. I want to be you. Don't make me like you. I want to be you. I love this scene. Fucking love this scene. Please no copy strike. Please no copy strike. I fucking love this scene. It's amazing. I fucking love it, honestly. A villain who has culled the most taboos in history and is pure, just, and strong. An awfully twisted personality has emerged from your blanched out soul. I'm gonna beat everything I know into you, and I mean everything. Assimilate everything I am into the blank soul of yours. And when one day all of it is destroyed by happiness and you still manage to survive, that's when you'll surpass me. That's such a significant line. That's such a heavy and loaded line. When you find happiness, that will mean you surpassed me. Because I cannot find happiness. I'm just a villain. I'm just a murderer. And I long since abandoned the hope of being anything more. If you can hope to be something more than that, if one day, by chance, you find happiness, that means you surpassed me. That's amazing. That's amazing. I took a note here. Flare, depth, villain. There's a lot of depth to Flare. A lot. And I mean a lot. Usually, uh, evil masters that train their pupils in evil way are very one-dimensional. Maybe they have like a layer underneath. Usually the trope is that the master just um, abuses their pupil, and the pupil eventually surpasses them, and then the master dies somehow, and the pupil uncovers the fact that the master was loving them all along, and it was just tough love and whatnot, right? That's usually the most depth you can get out of a villain master in media in general. It's not just anime, it's not just manga. In general, in media, Flare has a lot of depth. She's not an abusive master, even. She doesn't even fall into that trope. She doesn't want Menou to live the same life she does. Menou wants to be her, and Flare respects that. And Flare does strive to make Menou like her, to make Menou her, make Menou into her, into a little Flarette. But at the same time, she expresses hope that one day Menou will surpass her by finding happiness, by breaking out of the villain act. Hmm. So far, honestly, after this episode, I think Flare is probably my favorite character here. Honestly. No cap. I like Momo as a kind of a comic relief character. I like Menou because there's also some depth to her. I like Akari because she's just friendly and likable. But all of those characters so far lack depth. Or rather, maybe not lack depth, but they have like a layer of depth. Flare has a lot more. A lot more. I have a feeling you could make an entire spin off about just Flare. She has so much depth and so much potential as a character. I want to see where Flare's story goes. It's called Having a Sense of Style. I went through a long, long period of training to become Flarette. And yeah, they are arriving. And we're just past half the episode, and I've already been talking for an hour. Holy shit. Yeah, let's go sightseeing. The noblesse territory, where the royalty, nobility, and kings are. Notice how the where was it shown? There, the blockade and the closed gates. I have a feeling It's not the noblesse of Garm that are closing themselves away from the rubble of the city. It's the church that keeps the noblesse on that island, separated from everyone else and protected. Yeah, it very much looks like so. Huh. Cathedral is a sacred place for us Faust. Some stained glass, Orwell. Oh, how awful it must be to it must have been to be suddenly summoned to another world. Oh yeah, we're gonna totally send you home. And we're gonna give you money if you investigate. And of course Akari is very upset about it because Menou promised they're gonna go sightseeing. The day after tomorrow, Akari will be. Not if you do something about it. And I have a feeling it will. I mean, there are only two ways it can go. Either Menou essentially becomes an apostate and saves Akari from her fate, or Akari is deemed to be useful to the church somehow. Okay, there are more than two ways it can go. Or the investigation uncovers something that postpones the ritual in some way, or they find a way to get Akari rid of her pure concept. Thing is, if they rid Akari of her pure concept, the anime essentially ends. Because the gimmick is no longer there, so to speak. The gimmick is that Akari has control of time. And the gimmick is that Menou is an assassin that assassinates people like Akari. Yeah, so it can be that. Akari, either Menou has to rescue Akari, Akari has to be deemed useful, or something has to happen during the investigation. And I wonder what could that be? Series of disappearances. It does feel like an original scene might be involved somehow. Original scene of summoning? Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, you can bring her to investigate, and I'm totally not mad at you. Apologizing in a towel. Soon enough, apologizing without a towel. I don't think Menou would mind. And that gives the potential. Oh, my lower back hurts, and that's it. That's the episode. I mean, what can I say? It's just another great episode. Another episode. Yeah, sure. Another episode with a lot of detail, a lot of depth, a lot of mystery, but also just a little bit of answers. A little trickle of answers and world building, and I'm amazed. I really, really, really do enjoy what I'm seeing. I really love this series so far. Probably the best thing I'm watching this season, honestly. When it comes to like sheer quality and sheer depth of it. Don't get me wrong, Skeleton Knight in Another World is also a great show. I really like it, but it's a fun show and pretty much just fun. There isn't much depth to it. There's just fun. Spy X Family is a great show as well, but ultimately it's a slice of life, and slice of life is just slice of life. Everybody knows what it is. I'm again having a great time watching it. Again, don't get me wrong. but there isn't necessarily much depth about it, right? There isn't much to discuss, there isn't many theories to be had. Uh, this show, Virgin Road, really strikes all of my fancies. There's a lot of world building that I'm a sucker for. There is a lot of character depth. There is also some fun to be had. There is some comedy. There is some great chemistry between characters. There's a lot of mystery, but there is also a lot of answers. There is a lot of there is a lot to speculate about. There is a lot of darkness, but also a lot of lightness. It's not a completely hopeless show the way, I don't know, Grimgar, for example, is. It's not a completely comedic show. It strikes a very nice balance. It's just great. It's just great. Not to mention production quality. It's sure it's not like the best produced show in the history of ever, but it's certainly well above average. The fact that they sometimes draw like individual teeth and how they render eyes, particularly on Flare, which I think they are doing to create more uneasiness, right? To get into the uncanny valley territory, to make Flare a little bit more creepy than she already is. But I appreciate it. I really, really do. I've been having an amazing time with this show, and I already hope it gets a second season. I already hope. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna read. Is there a manga of it? Or is it only light novel? If there's only a light novel, I can guarantee I'm gonna read it. If there's a manga, I might. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm gonna have to look it up, for sure. Yeah, what else can I say? I can't wait for more. I can't wait for more world building to be had. I can't wait for more explanations to be had. I can't wait for more mysteries to be had. And I can't wait for more character interactions to be had. I've been loving everything so far. There hasn't been a single thing that I would be kind of, you know, you know, middling on. There isn't anything I would hate. There isn't anything I would be uncertain about. Everything's been great, and it's a great achievement. So yeah, I guess that's gonna be it from me. But now you tell me in the comments, what did you think of this episode, of my reaction, of my theories? Just leave it spoiler free, I beg of you. I want to experience it myself, alone, completely blind. If there is something that was there in the source material but was skipped for some reason, or there is some additional context, like the scene of those people being sucked up by the pure red gem or whatever it was called, then sure, do let me know, but leave the spoilers out, please. If you have even an inkling of a doubt that what you want to say might be a spoiler, just don't. Just don't. Or join my Discord server right here, and there is a Virgin Road channel there, and you can use spoiler tags, and you can talk spoilers with fellow people who are familiar with the source material. Or you can just not use spoilers and talk openly about non-spoilery stuff, and I will be able to see it, I will be able to read it, and I will be able to talk with you about it. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases, not only Virgin Road, but also Spy X Family, Symphogear G. Um, is fuck. I forgot what I'm watching. Spike's Family, Symphogear G, uh, Shield Hero Season 2, Skeleton Knight in Another World, and Revue Starlight. That's the show I keep forgetting the name of. Revue Starlight. I'm also watching Revue Starlight. And also, I might be streaming every now and then. I streamed Blue Archive yesterday for a little bit, so if you're into that, you'll get notified if you subscribe to the channel. If you want to support me monetarily, you can do so on Patreon, link in the description. For $10 a month, you get early access to non-seasonal shows, which is Symphogear G and Revue Starlight this time around. And for just $1, you get access to a special channel on my server. You get a role, you get access to that channel where I sometimes post some sneak peeks and bloopers and stuff like that. you get an orange roll, and no matter the tier you subscribe to, you also get a place in the credits, which you will see in but a moment. Share this video with people who you know or think would enjoy it, because the more you spread the word about my content, the more YouTube itself helps spread the word, and it's nice to see some organic growth of the channel. Join my Discord. I think I mentioned everything that needed to be mentioned, so that's gonna be it from me for today. And as always, do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Cheers! And here's the credits that I mentioned. You get to be here no matter the tier you subscribe to.